Hey class, I just wanted to share a quick tutorial with you on how to create a favicon icon and use that in your website. The favicon icons, I'm sure you already know, are just these little icons you'll see either in the address bar of your browser or even in the toolbar or in your bookmarks. With Firefox and Chrome, I know you can delete the text that's on these, and in Firefox you can even install an add-on, a plugin that allows you to have multiple rows of these. So you can just have icon after icon for your bookmarks. Most of the professional sites are going to have these. Amazon has this one, Bing has this one here. And if you have a site and you have this, it just looks a little better if people are using these, if they see them up here, than if you just have a white blank box there. So it's a nice little add-on. It's a minor thing, but it's a nice little touch. And there's simple ways of doing this, either in Photoshop or even using an online creator for this. I'm going to show us in Photoshop real quick first, and then I'll just post a couple links to where you can do this online as well. Basically, with Photoshop, all you're going to have to do is download a plugin if you're running CS4, CS5. I'm not sure if this is going to work in the older versions or not. I'm using CS5 right now. Basically, there is a link that I've posted to telegraphics.com, and you just go in here, find the version that you have if you're running Mac or Windows, download that, and extract that or unzip that file if it's in a zip folder. And then you're going to need to go over, if you're using Windows. If you're using Mac, I can't really help you. I think you can drag and drop pretty simply in that. But with Windows, you're going to have to go to your C drive, as long as that's the directory where you have your program files stored, unless you've installed this to a different directory. And in that case, you would know where that is. But otherwise, you should go to your C drive. You're going to go to your program files. You're going to go to your Adobe folder, and I've pasted this path into the website page too, so you can kind of check that to just see if you get lost. But it's pretty simple. Just go into your Adobe folder and in Program Files, find the Adobe Photoshop CS5, CS4 folder, whichever one you're using. Then go into the Plugins folder inside of that, and then inside of the Plugins folder, you'll go into the File Formats folder. Open that folder up, drag the plugin ICO format, whichever one that you downloaded. In my case, it's the 64-bit, but you might have had a different one. But whatever one it is, you'll drag it in. It should look like one of these little blue boxes, and it should just drop right in there. It might prompt you to ask whether you want to do it or not. Just hit continue. Once that drops in there, if you have Photoshop open, you'll want to close it and restart it so that it reads that that plugin's in there. And that's pretty much all you're going to have to do to install it. So then you'll just go to Photoshop, and you'll open up, create a new file. You'll want to be 48 by 48 for desktop icons. I think Apple iPhone has another dimension that you can Google if you're trying to make those. This is just for the favicon, which are typically 16 by 16. Because that's so small, I usually start out with 48 by 48 so I can kind of see what I'm doing. It's not overly pixelated, and then I'll downsize it. I don't know if that's the best way. That's just the way I've done it. So you will need to have it at least these dimensions. If you try to save the icon with that plugin, and it isn't at least this small, it won't even give you the dialog to be able to save it as that, and you'll think that the plugin is not installed. So basically, just start that folder, hit Control 0 to zoom in on your file. Whoops. Okay, and then all you need to do is create some kind of design that you want your icon to be. Remember, this is going to be really small. It's only going to be as big as these are here, so it's something that you're not going to want to have a lot of detail with, or it's going to be difficult and probably pixelated. So just for this example, we could just do something simple like, let's say, a gradient, and maybe we want to have a letter in there. So we pick a letter, let's say it's an A, and we just put that in the middle. Oops, it looks like I did something else. Oh well. And if you wanted it to be a circle or something or another shape. There are other ways of doing that. I'm not going to get too into that, but let's just say we wanted it to be a circle. We could combine these layers on the right just for simplicity's sake. We could select our elliptical marquee tool. We could hold down shift so it stays as a circle, drag that across, and then hold the space, press the space bar down while still holding shift to be able to move this around. So you got the space bar down, you're still holding shift so that you keep it a nice circle. If you don't hold shift, you're going to get a circle that is not perfectly round. It's going to turn into who knows what kind of shape. So that's how you're going to want to do that, is you just hold down shift, drag that, use the space bar to get it centered where you want, and let it go. Then you're going to want to hit Control Shift I, and that's going to select the stuff that's around that circle on the outside of it. You can just hit backspace or delete. Maybe it's delete. Okay, never mind backspace. You can hit Control D to get rid of those crawling ant selector things, whatever you call them. And then you're going to want this to be transparent, maybe. Maybe you want it to be white. Let's say we want it to be transparent so you don't see it. You can just get rid of your background layer, and as long as you have this checkerboard, if any of you have used Photoshop, you know that means that's transparent. So now you're just going to go over to save this. Since we're not saving this for a desktop, it's going to be a 16 by 16 size for the icon. So looks like I'm having some computer glitching here. For whatever reason, I can't do that. So I'm just going to keep it that size. It'll work anyway with this particular icon plugin. You're not going to want to go to Save for Web and Devices. That seems like what you would do for anything for the web, and you'd optimize it. But in this case, you're using the plugin, so you're just going to go to Save As. When the dialog comes up, you're going to want to name this favicon. Oops, I learned to type too. My computer is seriously glitching out. Okay, so you're going to name it favicon.ico, and then you're going to go down here to Format, click the drop-down menu, and if you installed the plugin in the right directory, you should see it right down here. It's going to say ICO, Windows icon, and something to this effect. You're going to click on that, and then you're going to find where you want to save that. In this case, it'd be the root directory for my Dreamweaver, local site root folder, and then you just save it. It will replace the one I have now, so I'm not going to save it in there. But that's all you would need to do. And as long as that's in the root folder and you're using, let's say, DreamHost, like we're using for this class, you don't actually need to even add anything in the head tag of your main index HTML file for it to show up. All you need to do is have that in there, and you should be able to see that icon come up when you load your page. One other thing I wanted to point out was, actually let me just go over to the other way you can do this if you don't have Photoshop, is that you can just go to a site. You can Google favicon generator, and there's different sites that do them. This site's a site where you can draw one and you can animate and do different things and then download it. There's another site like this one where you could actually create the icon in Photoshop, then you'd browse to that file, you'd open it up, and you'd make it a 16 by 16, you'd browse to it and you create it and download it, and you just drop it into that folder in your root directory just the same, and make sure that it's named favicon.ico. One other option is, as you're doing more assignments and you create, let's say, a subdirectory, and that subdirectory is maybe a fake website that you're doing for class, and you just for fun want to throw in a favicon into that one instead of having the one that's in your root folder. All you need to do is throw that new favicon into that new subfolder that you're using as your sort of new main site, and then you'll display this link in the, this should be in the head of your of your HTML. This is a messed up example. So actually, should be like that. So you have your link up here. If you're in design view, you just go over to code view and you look in the head tag. You got the head tag at the top and the closing head tag. You got your link for your external CSS style sheet, and right under that you can just copy and paste this in. This is available on the web page that I posted, and all you'll need to do is change the href attribute right here to the correct one for you. So whatever your web address is, and then the folder that you've named, and then favicon.ico, and make sure that you have that in the right spot, and leave the rest of this stuff alone. And that should load, it's worked for me, that should load your new favicon in that subdirectory of your site without overwriting the one that you have in the main root folder. And so that's about it. Thanks for watching.